Okay. Can't hear you, Daryl. You're on mute.
It's just us, is it?
Right. So,
And
okay. So I've had apologies from Paul Shepherd because he's on a course, and Stephen Jones has just messaged me within the last hour to say that he's
Really?
traveling and he can't attend, unfortunately.
okay.
Yeah. So still expecting Andy, Phil, Simon, Sankeet's here, and Jeff.
And must be 2 in the morning your end, Sankey, or no, midnight.
No,
I always
it's
appreciate
all
you. Always appreciate you joining us from India.
Absolutely, not a
Yeah,
problem.
very kind of you.
Hi, Simon. You're on mute.
Hi, Carla. How are you getting on?
Good.
Yeah, I'm off now. I'm in the car.
Good.
Sorry.
All right. Okay. No problem. We're just waiting for a couple more to. Oh, here we go. They're all popping in now, which is great. Hi, Jeff.
Hello there. Hello.
You okay?
Jeff,
Yes,
Hi,
thank
Jeffrey.
you.
Good. Good.
you may
Okay.
want to put a light on, Jeff. You're in
Yeah.
I
You're
will.
in the dark.
Can't see you at all.
I'm now in the light. Okay.
That's better. Yeah. I will actually call up the agenda. Oh, who's that? Phil. Oh, someone's admitted him. Thank you.
That was
Hello,
me.
Phil.
Hi there. How are you all?
Good. How are you?
Thank you.
Fine, thank you.
Good. Good.
Sorry, I'm a bit late. I just had to leave another meeting.
All right. It's from hopping from one to the other.
Yeah, and I'll go back to that one when we've finished.
Okay.
I've just done the same. I was watching it's a Rosh Hashanah. It's the first day of the Jewish New Year. I was involved in a service this morning here, and I was just watching the service in New York, and in fact one in New York and one in California. So I should go back to it then after this meeting.
Okay. That's some different. That's some challenging time zones to manage, eh? I guess it's in our favour though at the moment.
Well, I'm involved in all sorts of time zones, mostly at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning for us, which is Singapore and Australia time, midday.
Oh gosh.
That's what I'm doing most of the time.
Oh dear. So I'm just opening
Philip,
up the agenda.
Are you still out in the Far East, Philip? Are you back now? Yourself?
That was Andy, I guess.
Andy, sorry.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Well remembered. Yeah, I know he was out there for a few months, so he may.
I think he's due back by now.
Okay.
He's due to attend.
Okay.
So,
well, let's get started, Carla, because we've got most people. If you can.
Lots of things. Okay. So let me just call up the agenda. Sorry.
While you're doing that, hello, Marie.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So we'll do. Someone to let that person in. Great. Thank you. So I can't see people's faces. I'm just looking at the agenda. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll update those who are in attendance and those who sent their apologies, just so that you know that Steve had to send his apologies and Fenna as well. I don't know if you remember the last time she mentioned she was getting married, so she should be married by now, hopefully. So Fenna's not able to attend. Unfortunately, Stephen Jones gave his apologies just an hour ago. He's not able to attend. And Paul Shepherd will not be able to attend either. So I'll do our welcome introductions. Everyone here knows each other. So I will introduce May Reid. So May Reid is our corporate fundraising manager. And I'll let Mairead introduce herself and give you a brief about what she does and her involvement in the program. Welcome, Mairead.
Hi everyone, great to meet you all finally. Hello Jeffrey, happy New Year.
Thank you.
So, as Carla said, my name is Mairead. You think of parade, drop the P, put in an M, then you have me. My background is from the maritime industry. I've worked in sales development, marketing, and corporate finance. So, I joined the team in the pandemic, which was a bit of a challenge. And you can see even today marking the first day back into the office from a lot of companies, specifically in the City of London. We're finally seeing a pickup and an interest with regard to the type of work that I engage in, which is targeting and developing the corporate social responsibility and corporate social investment commitments from maritime companies, specifically with regard to either Marine Society or Sea Cadets. Because of my background, I often take the approach of trying to match the principles and the ethos of the company to the programs that we get involved in from the point of view of the Marine Society and the Sea Cadets. I've produced a bit of a presentation with regard to basically the sales pipeline cycle that has happened so far, considering that we have worked through interesting times. So once we have a gap in the agenda, I can go through that with you just to get for you to get a better snapshot of what's going on there, but also to see the cycle we've come through and the possibilities that we should be able, or I should be able to deliver by the end of 2021.
Okay. Thanks, Mairead. Has anyone got any questions or anything?
Well, we're coming on to that. It's in the agenda, isn't it, when Mairead's talking to us about the fundraising? So
yeah.
Probably save it to them.
Okay. So the next part is just for me to go over the actions from the last minute. There wasn't much, to be fair. Let me just call that up. Okay. So the action. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so the actions from the last meeting was to invite you all or tell you all about the Bringing Skills Ashore event at the London International Shipping Week, and that is actually the Sea to City networking event on the Monday that hopefully you all know about now and are registered to attend if you're available. We've also been sharing that out with mentees, so hopefully that will see a good turnout, and we are supporting that event, and we'll get the opportunity to share details about the Coming Ashore program, and Steve Cameron will be one of the panel members in that on that event, and it's both virtual and in person. It's a hybrid event, so we're hoping that's a successful event to really focus on Coming Ashore generally and to promote our program. The next thing, the action was to any of you to send in names of your mentees who you're out of contact with for being due to follow up with. So I take it that over the course of the past few weeks, you've been doing that, and I have seen that from a couple of you. Please do continue to do that. So if there is any issues you have with your mentees, please do let us know, and we'll also follow up with them. The next point was to confirm how many more mentees you can support, and I actually wanted to touch on that. Let me just X off the screen. Okay, so with regard to that, it's over the past few weeks we've been getting quite a few registrations. So we're up to about 260 registrations now. And in the period since the last meeting in June, we've had 26 new registrations and 19 introductory calls. So once we have an introductory call with a mentee, that's when we make the decision if they're suitable for the program or not. And the majority of them have been. There's only been 2 that haven't been, and that's they were due to misunderstanding about the program. And so that would just tell you that about 19 or so of those mentees have been assigned to mentors. So you can see the number of mentees are actually being assigned out to you all. And it's actually got to the stage now where quite a few of you are at capacity already. So we've got less than half of you who can still take mentees on board. So that's becoming a real issue for us now. And it's really to kind of maybe chat with you or raise what stage you're at now. Can you take on more mentees, considering that they're not engaging with you on a regular basis? Yes, Phil.
I might potentially have another mentor for you.
Okay.
It's somebody that I used to work with, and he's similar background to me, master mariner and solicitor.
Okay.
And I saw him a few weeks ago, and he's retired as well. And he said that he might be interested. So if it's okay, I can ask him to contact you.
Please do, yeah. Or if you direct him directly to the website and to fill in the form,
Yeah, okay.
then I can reach out to him once the form has come in. But either way, that would be fantastic.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thanks
Okay,
a lot,
thanks.
Phil. Yeah. So yeah, it's about being kind of clear with your mentees that have got jobs and whether they need as much support from you still, or can you kind of lessen the support with them in order to take on another mentee. And given that you say that you're not engaging that regularly with your mentees, does it mean you have capacity to take on more? It's just something to think about, because we are now getting to capacity with a few of you. At least 5 of you have stopped. I've stopped sending you mentees, so that's quite significant. Okay. The other thing, yes, the last point was about sharing any information via LinkedIn, and that's an ongoing request that any news, any news that you get, if you can continue to post on LinkedIn. Okay. So that was all the actions from the last meeting. The next item on the agenda was the MSCC fundraising for Coming Ashore. That was Marie. So Marie, did you want to give any more about what you're doing?
Sorry, can I just come in, because I'm just conscious no one has any context about this, so I just want to set the scene and then let Marie kind of fill in the detail. But essentially, as you know, this is a funded program, currently funded by ITF Seafarers Trust, and that's finite. I mean, that takes us to a certain point. So what we're putting in place is some fundraising activity with corporates to attract sponsorship just to keep the program running, essentially, because we can't guarantee further funding, restricted funding from those sources. So we've done well to now, better than we thought actually, but those good times will inevitably run out. So as I say, Marie's one of the fundraising team, and she is working on that initiative. So I'll let her tell you what she's been up to, and I think she might pick your brains as to any potential leads in your networking book that you might have. Over to you, Marie.
Thanks very much there, Daryl. So I have been for the past month and a half with regard to specifically targeting companies when it comes to the Coming Ashore offering that we have and the program that we have. I'm just going to bring up an overview of what's been happening from the point of view of the micro view when it comes to fundraising as a whole in the past 18 months, and then also some of the feedback that I've been receiving with regard to pitching the Coming Ashore program. So with regard to the Marine Society, obviously it's a different sell and interaction from the Sea Cadets. So there's two markets that are very, very separate, and therefore the type of client that you can approach with the conversations that you have can be very, very different. So from the point of view of the Marine Society, obviously it's helping seafarers reach potential. It's got the tailoring learning program supporting professional development. It has delivered, and what's unique about the Marine Society is the fact that you've delivered a program that's almost ahead of its time in the context of distance learning, and also being able to pivot on the products and resources that we have on offer for seafarers. Crew libraries and bookshop support are a traditional foundation of what the Marine Society do. And then also we need to reflect that we have a continual level of investment that delivers an up-to-date e-campus and education resource for all seafarers. So in order to position ourselves as a resource, but also a cause that a target company wants to support, I think that is a very key selling point based on the interactions I've had with the target clients that I've reached out to. So key selling points with coming ashore was the fact that, you know, the Marine Society are putting together an opportunity where individual skills and needs are assessed. You have the expert across the industry. You have access to a range of online learning in the campus. You've got the tailored work experience, and that's the huge thing when you're talking to seafarers. I was at the launch on Friday, and there was a couple of young kids who had just done their officer of the watch, and to this day, there's still not a conversation in process coming from the colleges that say, right, you can work at sea, but then you can go on to shore jobs. And I don't know whether it's because of the individual campuses and curriculum, but for instance, those two young cadets had no idea basically of what the Marine Society can offer them. You have in real life advice, you have an opportunity which the Coming Ashore programme will meet the needs of the senior ranks. It has a qualification that is recognised, and that is very important for the global shipping companies that I've spoken to. That's when they sort of show more interest in the opportunity. And, you know, it's providing an established pathway from ship to shore based on a seafarer's skill, experience, talent, and potential. So then I just want to show you what's been going on with regard to the state of play I've experienced with corporate targets. So like any other company that's out there, the shipping companies are just coming back to a functional level of operation in the original office location. So for instance, for the past 4 months, I've been trying to get in contact with the UK. Yesterday, I managed to get through to the PR person there on the third ring, and that didn't even go through reception. So people are definitely starting to pick up the phone and communicate in that manner, as opposed to getting an email from you. And I have been in positions where it's taken a company 3 months to get back to me on email, and that's going to a qualified target person. So it's a person's email as opposed to just an info or a shot in the dark. So I feel that I'm only getting back to qualified leads and conversations with them over Zoom or telephone now. Following the pandemic, there has been a huge churn in the structure, the organizational structure of companies. So the people that were there 24 months ago are not there now, but equally, for instance, with Rolls-Royce, the organizational structure of their CRS system, so their corporate social responsibility or community investment, or indeed education. So it's the soft values of the company rather than the outputs of the company. Those internal structures have been either completely made redundant or completely broken apart, and they're at a point where they're only looking at restructuring that opportunity now, simply because we weren't allowed to have a community corporate outreach or any initiatives in that sphere. The incubation and conversion of sales are taking longer because you are in 24 months ago, when I had a clear path of communication and I knew exactly who to go to, how to get to them, how to interact with them, was a lot faster. At the moment, it is a structure where it does take longer and it can be frustrating in that matter. What I would say as well is, from the point of view of looking at our competitors, we as a charity, the Marine Society, I don't think that we have enough prominence when it comes to competing with the other mission charities, i.e. the Sailor Society, the Seafarers Charity as it's called now, the Mission to Seafarers, or Stella Maris, simply because they have a sort of instant fix when it comes to the type of corporate social responsibility or community investment a company can tag on to its values and its HR interaction or its community investment commitment. That can change, because I do feel that because of what we're doing in Coming Ashore and the change that has in the overall structure of companies, we have a more deliverable key resource that we can put in the market and that they can utilize. So then this is where I need help, in the context that I have been able to forge ahead with the context that I have, but I do need help with some of the bigger companies, like for instance the top 10 that are there, which are, you know, the kind of Olympic level of companies that I'd love to get involved with when it comes to the Coming Ashore program. And then I specifically looked at a regional target, simply because I do think there's a level of goodwill towards investment when it comes to being able to align themselves with what we're offering, which is Coming Ashore. It's an off-the-shelf product where they can fit that into their talent retention or mentoring program themselves. So when it comes to a regional target, I'd love to get more inroad into the Indian market. I think that is huge untapped potential. And if there was any help with that, I would gladly receive it. So that's the overview I have at the moment. I do think things are getting busier, and I do think that we should be able to get some traction within the next 2 to 3 months, based on the work that I've been doing when it comes to trying to market Coming Ashore. So I hope that gives you a little bit of insight from where I'm coming from.
Thanks, Mary. Does anyone have any questions or any comments or suggestions?
Marie, there's one obvious one missing there. That's a big London ship manager, and that's Zodiac. They have offices up near Marble Arch.
They do, yeah.
So, and I know a few people who have been at sea who work there. So they do take their mariners from the sea, or whether they're their own or others. So there may be some interest there.
I completely agree. I was at Zodiac as well. I used to work at Zodiac and still know a few people there. And the other missing, I absolutely agree with you, Philip. And the other missing company, in my opinion, you mentioned Shell and Chevron, but what about BP?
I am talking to BP, but BP learning. See, the problem you get is you go to your old contacts, you ring them up, you say, how are you getting on? You're lucky if they answer you. You're lucky if they're in the same division. And what's happening with BP now is that is completely transferred over to Singapore. So I am talking to the learning manager there in Singapore. In fact, I am trying to secure a meeting with them in the next 4 days because we have been on email. So BP, I've been looking after, but with Shell, it has gone into a dark corridor that I can't seem to kick a door in to get some light.
So can I just say something? So I can't see the list that's Simon here, but can you email the list, because I'm in contact with all
Simon.
the big major companies for the job that I do. So we speak to all of them all the time. So I could at least get you a name of somebody to speak to.
That would be brilliant.
Thanks, Simon.
I think Jeffrey has.
Is that a new hand, Jeff, or not?
It's a new hand, yes. I just
hand.
wanted to add, Murray, that BP Singapore I know reasonably well, and I have 2 very strong contacts there. So if you want them between now and your meeting in a few days' time, let me know. Or if if the meeting doesn't work, let me know afterwards, and I can perhaps put you in touch with my chums who are with BP in Singapore. One of them is a colleague, one of them is a very senior guy who used to be one of my students. And anything, I think Simon Jones is absolutely right. If you could share that list with all of us by email, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, we could all make suggestions then.
Yep, that's a good action.
And then there's the other aspect where, when it comes to the missions, because I'm very conscious of the fact that I'm putting together a Christmas appeal, and if you look at what's happened with the charities recently, there has been a lot of managerial change there, and their marketing is not as strong or as forceful as before. So there are companies like shipbroking companies that I feel have very short arms and very deep pockets, and it wouldn't do them any harm to be associated with a bit of philanthropy. So if there is any opportunities there, I mean, all I need is an introduction, and I'm well able to run with it. But at the moment, because we've had a situation where the curtains came down on the theatre and we weren't able to get beyond that, there has been a delay in delivering support when it comes to the corporates.
So, can I just comment? The list, that the top 10 there, Mary, they were sort of heavily focused on the shipping firms. I'm looking at where are the legals and the commercial companies. I mean, they're the ones who want this pipeline of maritime to come ashore. So can we target some of those rather than the shipping firms who probably feel we're poaching their crew from them? But I think you think about some of the big legal maritime legal and arbitrators and so on, and plus the ones you mentioned. So. Yeah,
I'll tell you what. When we get the list, I can probably give you help with the legal firms, because having worked there for 20 odd years, it's that I know the ones who deal in maritime, the ones who want mariners.
Yeah.
Well, I can always remember when we set this up, the very first person I spoke to, Harry Theocaris at Norton Rose Fulbright, the first person who ever spoke to me, he said, please let us know when this program is running, because I need, ex-master mariners coming this way. And that's a top partner of a legal company. So I think those are the ones, as you say.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carla.
And Clyde & Co would be another good choice.
Clyde & Co, I have it written down here. And people like Brooks Fell.
Assurance.
Yeah, like the top 13 P&I, but then it's more the introductions into the marine brokers, i.e., Willis Tower Wilson, Tokyo Marine. I have an in with Tizers, but they tend to lean towards sea cadets rather than Marine Society. Tyndall Riley is what I'm scheduled to be contacting them shortly. Obviously, Steamship Mutual, obviously Britannic, obviously West, and obviously North.
So if we take this off to email, May Reid, and then you've got all the email addresses, so I'll liaise with you about all the mentors' email addresses, and you'll send.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll do an Excel sheet and give you an overview of the contacts I have, but also the lists of companies I know of myself. But then if there's anything that you can add to, that would be great.
Yeah, other company names or contacts within those
Yeah.
companies. Great. Okay. Thank you all for your contribution. It will really help us. That's great. So the next item on the agenda, I think we're running over a little bit, is it's just to talk about the International Shipping Week. And I did touch on it already about the Sea to City event that's happening on the Monday. Daryl and I will be there in person. Are any of you down to attend or partake at all?
I was going to attend, and I was going to try and get some of my contacts in the marine pilots in the PLA. There's a whole clatter of them there that should really be coming into network.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, it's a limited numbers event, so I think registrations are closed now.
Did you say it was virtual as well?
Yes.
It's virtual hybrid.
So, okay, well, I can't make it in on Monday, but I'll certainly try and tune in on the virtual.
Yeah, it's from 11:30 till 1.
Okay.
Could you be kind enough to send us a reminder and a link by email so that we
Sure.
can, those of us who can join you virtually could do so? It would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to register. Sure. Okay.
It's all in the LinkedIn group, Jeff.
Yeah.
We'll send it
Yeah,
again.
should be there.
So our very own Steve Cameron will be representing us on a panel. I think you mentioned. So the plan is that there'll be fielding questions from seafarers around the world on a live link. The first hour I think will be more presentational, and then they'll open it up to as we're saying, literally global inquiries, and we'll see what comes out of it. But it's just great to have a platform there with obviously Maritime London and the other Sea to City program. Yeah, I mean it's their, let's be honest, it's their gig, but we're a guest partner with them. So I think positive.
Okay.
I think it's me now, isn't it? Just talking.
The next item is you.
So this is another initiative that's sort of come out of nowhere. I'm just trying to bring up an email. So in fact, someone mentioned Tysers. So a guy called Daniel Wells at Tysers. I met him recently, and he said, "Oh, your Coming Ashore program." He said that would be it'd be really great for Lloyd's, the Corporation of Lloyd's, to run a similar program that they already have for the Armed Forces Network. I don't know if any of you know this. I didn't know this at all. But
yeah,
they have,
Lloyd's Market, they have an Armed Forces.
That's right.
Kind of
more
developed. Or less. If you rock up there and say you're from the army, you'll get a job as an underwriter,
well,
but
I don't know if we can say that, but yeah.
No, but they have also got a program for diversity, young people's diversity. I know the HR guy in there, and they also have an armed forces fund.
So as that being the case, though, what he was saying was that there's a place for a kind of merchant navy equivalent, and he asked around on our behalf, and actually there was some appetite for that. So he's in the process of just building a little kind of collaborative group. There are some ex-master mariners he knows who are keen to be involved. So I'm just letting you know there's a potential of an equivalent, as we call it, a marine network for the merchant seafaring ex-seafarers, and what that will give us is a direct entree into Lloyd's and potential of placement. So what the Armed Forces Network gives are placements, and that's what we've lacked with this program, is the ability to actually give people some work experience in these in these firms. And so it's quite exciting to hear that, but I'm very much sort of I can't push the guy too much. He's just sort of gathering intel and so on, so we'll keep you posted on that, but it's a great idea that came forward. So that is the Lloyd's Marine Network. Watch this space.
Okay. The next item is the feedback from all of you, But as there's a couple less of you, I think I would just want to squeeze in another initiative that's been on the back burner. We've just been trying to organise it, but now it's coming to its final stages of fruition, and it's with the Workboats Association. Now I've been kind of liaising with Kerry Forster. I don't know if any of you know Kerry Forster. He's the CEO of the Workboats Association, and he's been talking to us over a few weeks and explaining that in the workboat sector, they do have a big problem of or shortage of experienced shoreside, staff. Yeah, yeah, in the shoreside sector of the workboat. So they want to kind of be a part of our Coming Ashore program and have it's almost like a mini program or a scheme within our Coming Ashore program where they can support, encourage workboat seafarers. If they're interested in coming ashore, they register through our program and then they get the support. They will provide information on relevant courses that will help them into the right pathway of jobs, and also they will provide a small quota of mentors. So it's almost like a scheme within our scheme where they've got the right resource and the right experience of mentors to support the mentees that are coming through, but it's all funneling through the Workboats Association, and they'll have a small amount of funding as well to help them with the appropriate courses. So we're just in the final stages, and that'll be another area that we will be able to support, and that's the workboat sector. So we're really pleased about that, because that will broaden the sectors within the maritime sector generally that we can support, but then we'll also have the right experience with mentors to support those mentees coming through. So we'll tell you more about that in the coming weeks, and that will also boost our quota of mentors overall. So yeah, that's that initiative coming through, and we may be able to launch something or talk about it next week at International Shipping Week. You've got a question, Jeff?
Yes, question. Do you or Mairead know Julie Lithgow? And are you aware that, I'm sure you are aware that she's no longer with the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers.
She's with the Waterman.
But she is Company of Watermen and Lightermen of River Thames.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we know about that.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
that's
yeah, she's on various networks. She's on the diversity network, so she shared that, and the Women in Maritime network as well. So yes, we do engage. Thanks for that, Jeff.
Yeah, she's a good ally.
Yes. Yeah. So the next item is to just speak with or hear from each of you about how you've been getting on with your mentees. I keep getting that mixed up, mentees, mentors. So do you want to go first, Simon? I know you're kind of you're still out in the car or somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
No problem. My kids at swimming, so I'm parked in the car park. So.
All right. Okay. Well, let's get you talking before your child finishes.
Yeah. So I've currently got 10 mentees, and to be brutally honest, there's only about 4 that are active out of the whole lot. I'll send an updated list of who I think. There's 2 that are tentative. One is the guy who's setting up his own business. I don't think I can really help him much more. And the other one is waiting until a position comes in Bureau Veritas in October. So I've really only got, taken away those lot, I've only really got about 3 to 4 that are active. Regular contact with them. The new guy that you assigned me, Stuart Hayward, I think his name was.
Stuart Hayward, yeah.
I haven't heard from him at all.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't emailed at all that I've seen. So.
Okay. So Bindu will follow up with him.
Yeah, I'll send an updated list to you, Carla, who I think we should cut in respect of basically non-contact.
Please do, yeah. That, yeah, I completely agree with that, because it's just taking up, valuable time where other mentees could be engaging. And just to let you all know that we've got a couple in waiting, so we're kind of building up a bit of a waiting list now, which we'd really want to try and avoid. So yeah, please do send through a list of those who you are completely not active, and we can potentially just take off the mentoring support until they are more ready. Okay.
Yeah, I've got my my summary sheet here that I can just send
Sure.
you through with the ones I've highlighted.
Great. Thanks a lot for that, Simon.
No problems.
So should we move on to Andy?
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, I have 9 mentees in my on my slate at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
3 of those mentees have been in touch with me this last month, but only as a keep in touch, not for not for a proper session. Partly because of vacation, including my vacation, I was away for 3 weeks.
Sure.
But out of the 9, there's only one who hasn't really been in touch. But out of the 9, 4 have found the contact issues very difficult, partly because they have been at sea,
Okay.
and we have struggled to maintain a decent enough communication connection to
Right.
to actually make a start in the program.
Right.
I'm due to send out another round robin, as I do to all my mentees, to try and encourage an update on their present circumstances. I do know that some of them are at sea at the moment.
Yeah.
Are due back in the fall.
Okay.
Interestingly, I liked your comments on the Workboat Association, because two of my mentees, I think, would be ideally suited for that type of environment. So I'm thinking of Jack Gleaves, who we've really struggled to get going with so far, and Callie Olunihan, who again we've struggled because he's more often than not offshore. And sometimes he's close enough to shore to get a decent mobile signal, but when he's not, he doesn't have access to a mobile signal by satellite. So again, really struggling to provide the sort of service that they signed up for, and I hope to provide them.
Okay.
But at the moment, unless I start to shed and officially and formally say goodbye to the mentees, I can't take any more on. I'm at 9. My mental capacity of seeing where I am in the program with each of them has sort of reached saturation point.
Right. Okay. That's fair enough. So would you say that you're engaged with 8 out of 9 of them? Because you did mention one.
Yeah, I have been in touch with 8 out of 9.
Right.
Oleg, I can't remember his surname. Kachanova.
I know who you mean. Don't worry.
He did get in contact with me once, but it hasn't gone any further.
Okay.
So he is one that hasn't really engaged in the program. The other 8 have, and I know that they wanted to progress very well. Rostislav Kushenko called me from Vladivostok, but his timescale was completely misguided in a way. He wanted to complete the program within 5 weeks.
Oh.
Because he didn't want to return back to sea. He had a young family, and he wanted a job within that 5-week leave period. and I told him I wasn't a job finding service, and to be frank, finding something for a Russian national in the Far East, or and I guided him on the difficulties of working visas to to get a job ashore outside of Russia. It would be very difficult to do within that 5 weeks, and he needed more. He needed a much longer lead time to find work.
Yeah, yeah.
His main issue was he could find work in Vladivostok, but for a fraction of the salary he was earning at sea.
Right, right. So it's definitely a long-term journey, and
I would say you're looking at 18 months for most candidates.
Yeah.
In terms of getting them thinking about what they can achieve, because many come without any real goals as to what they want to do. So you start by looking at across all sectors, trying to match us skills, transferable skills.
But we do say that part of the program is for them to kind of research and look at the type of things that they'd be interested in. You know, it does take time. There's going to be things that they find they like and they're not, and move on to other things. So, you know, we do tell them that, you know, there is going to be research that they need to do, and that things aren't just going to be handed to them on a plate.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I think they recognise that, but
yeah. Okay.
Actually, it is a fairly lengthy program. It's not a short fix.
Okay. Okay. So you're at capacity, but you'll let us know if any of them, you think that any of them need to come off program, or if they've actually found a job and completed, so that we can progress with you. Okay. Thanks, Sandy. Should we move on to Sankeet?
Yeah. Okay. So since the last meeting, I spoke about the one guy who we mutually agreed that he wanted his name to be taken out of the program, at least for a year or so. So I think he's got in touch with you, asking his name to be removed for the time being. And as Andy said, again, I faced challenges in a similar manner, where the other two mentees were out at sea, and obviously I don't expect them to let me know that I'm going on a ship. But when I made the initial contact, after a couple of days or a week, he got back to me saying that he's on board. So that's how I came to know that he's been busy with the schedules, different time zones. But all in all, because the other person has taken his name off, the remaining two are on board. So I don't have somebody who's very active at the moment. So if you've got somebody suitable, I'm up to take more mentees.
Okay, thanks, Sankeet. Okay, great. Who we got left? Phil?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I know I had to put a limit on the number of mentees, because I'm doing another program as well for the Honourable Company.
Yeah.
But I think I'm away for 3 weeks shortly. But when I get back in October, I'll do my own review and see, because I've got some that probably nothing's going to happen very quickly, like Nicole Gardner, who's got this 3-year plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I met her in London recently, because I was going in and she was down in London. So we met and had a coffee and had a good chat. And, we did discuss quite a few things that she was interested in. So I think she's focused enough to go away and do it for herself.
Sure.
So it's just a case of keeping in touch with her.
Okay.
The other one, the difficult one, that I think I copied you in an email I sent to Steve about Erastus down in South Africa.
Yes. That was a while ago now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I haven't got in touch with him again, and I don't know whether Steve has, because Steve said he was still in touch with him, but I think the problem with Erastus is that he knows what he wants to do. There are no opportunities in South Africa, and he seems to think that he can go and live somewhere else. And it's
Right.
again, it's the visa and work permit problem. I know
Right.
Steve has discussed Singapore with him, but I'll contact him and just give him a reminder and see whether he needs any more help from me.
Okay.
We did discuss all these options, and they're not always easy. What the things he wants to do, and he knows what he wants to do, but it's not so easy down in South Africa.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so that's him. Lee Perry, we had some initial contacts. See, July, the last time I exchanged emails with him, and I said to him, let me know when you're around and we'll do a Zoom meeting. And I haven't heard from him since, so I need to send him a reminder.
Okay.
The others that I've got, Robert Waite, Luke, and who was Tom Mitchell. I've had meetings with all of them by Zoom and set them off doing some research on the things that they want to do for jobs or additional education.
Yeah.
And I found it quite useful, where if they're interested in surveying or law firms, is to give them websites of companies to visit and look at and see what the experience and qualifications are of the people in the jobs that they want, because often they fall short.
Right.
So that some of them are starting to realise now that they need to do more if they want to work ashore.
Right. Okay.
They're all going well. The only other one is was it Travis Vaz? But he kind of dropped out, didn't he?
Yeah. So he's with Jeff.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So you have 6.
I think I've got 7.
Yeah. I've got you as 6
I've
or
got
7.
Nick Gardner,
Nicola,
Erastus, which is
Lee.
Yeah, so maybe 6 active ones. So that's why I say when I get back from holiday in October, I'll see whether I can, fit more in.
Okay. All right then. Thanks a lot, Phil. And then finally, Jeff.
Right. Thank you. Right on cue, Phil. Thank you so much for mentioning Travis, because I wanted to talk about him. Thank you. I have quite a few, but he is probably the most active. He calls me very often, 2-3 times a week, and often for an hour or more at a time, which is interesting. And the latest message I've had from him, or one of several, was yesterday. At my suggestion, he's done exactly what you suggested, Phil, which is to go out and about and do his own research with a little bit of help and push, and a few ideas from me. So he's approached 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 companies yesterday alone. And he's certainly very keen. I find him very personable. He's also hugely bright, I think, and he's well qualified. So I think it shouldn't be too long before he finds himself a place, and obviously I will keep supporting him and holding his hand remotely, virtually, etc. He is very keen indeed to proceed. And I'm sorry he's not with you, Phil, but for whatever reason I have. Okay. Anyway, somebody else about whom I wrote to Carla, Darrell, and Bindu, who at the time wanted to remain anonymous, and I haven't spoken to him since, so I'm presuming he still wants to remain anonymous at this point. But it is a very salutary lesson for us all, I think, with all our mentees, that if they don't know, we ought to point them in the right direction regarding the amount of money that they might earn. He was on a fairly decent salary of 50 grand a year, with board and lodging all thrown in and no tax. When he came ashore, with some help from me, he found a job in a ship owner's office pretty quickly, within just a few weeks, very few weeks, less than a month, and started. And he was on a much, much higher salary, plus car, but he didn't realize, and I have to say, I suppose in a way it's my fault, that's why I'm raising it now, that I didn't think of warning him to take a look at something called income tax. And When is
Definitely, I think you'll find there are a lot of seafarers who feign quite some surprise when it comes to income tax.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Well, he was on a pretty healthy salary of 84 grand plus 25k car, but he had to pay rent for the car monthly, which he paid 40% tax on that massive salary, which left him about 1,500 a month after he'd paid monthly rental for his accommodation, which is away from home, and he was left with 1,500 a month, off which to live. They basic things like food and petrol for the car and so on. And he said, I've had this. I'm not at all happy. And he's gone back to sea. And I'm still in touch with him because I know the people where he is, for whom he is now working. An English small coastal company whom I've known for many years. But I think it's a lesson for us all to ensure that those whom we are guiding are aware, feigned or otherwise worried, are aware that there is this thing called income tax and renting and food and renting etc. It is a massive problem, and frankly, for many of them, obviously, a huge surprise. Darryl, you wanted to say something?
Well, I'm probably like others. I'm just shocked at the naivety that people think. I just it begs belief. And if someone came ashore on 85k from that, they should be absolutely, should jolly well be happy with that, because I find that remarkable, actually, if I'm honest.
That's an oversight. That's an oversight of the basics. I would think that if you're organised, you would, you'd look into that.
Interesting. Just sorry, if I didn't want to take time, but someone I knew who wasn't on the program, who was a first mate, came ashore. He was offered a full-time teaching job at Warsash Maritime School, and he turned it down because he said, "Oh, the salary's not high enough. He can't maintain my standard of living." But he desperately wants to come ashore. He hasn't joined the program though, but I just heard about it sort of anecdotally, and I just thought, you turned down a cracking job like that because you're unrealistic about your salary expectations ashore. And I just think it's that's why we need this kind of program, to kind of bring people to reality, because it is shocking but fascinating. Anyway, interesting.
So Jeff, in terms of the program, do we need to take him off the program if he's gone back to sea?
I suppose so. Yes.
Yes.
I suppose so.
We will need his name.
I realise that. I think he would. Want
let's
to come ashore eventually. I think he would want to come ashore eventually. He has a wife and small child, which is of course why he wanted to come home in the first place. But he just could not make ends meet, and it was really awkward for him. So yes is the answer, Bindu. I'll have to write to you separately.
Yeah.
If he's asked me to keep his things right, so I'm going to have to respect that. I hope you understand.
Sure. And your other mentees, Jeff, you're okay with your other, you have a total of 6, I believe.
Exactly. I have Bella Chetney, who is also in fairly regular contact. Sometimes a lot of contact per day, and sometimes I don't hear from her for a week or two. Okay. I know she was with Fenner, but she chose me for I don't know what reason. And she's currently still on the Viking cruise ship, certainly wants to come ashore, but is making great strides on board, has found herself a new, much more exciting position, and is in touch with the various officers on board, and is therefore, I think, finding her feet. But she will want to come ashore soonish. She wants to call me when she's near land, which will probably be, I think she's due to arrive in Iceland within the next 2 or 3 days, and she wants to call me when she's near a coast.
And you've got capacity to take more mentees, don't you?
I could take on 1 or 2 more, yes, because I have another 4 or 5 who are in and out, and frankly, I don't hear very much from them.
That's fine. And just one message to all of you about logging your engagements on the activity record in Google Docs. That's really, really important because
Mhm.
I make that part of my report to funders.
Yes.
So Jeff, it's about you kind of filling in.
Yeah.
You've got the link, haven't you? I sent you the link.
I think you did. Yes, I'll have to look at that. Yes.
You keep that stored in your emails, and if you could kind of just fill that in whenever you engage with your mentee, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just need to endorse that, Jeff, because you just mentioned these, lengthy periods you're spending with mentors, but none of them are recorded, Jeff. We they're not evidenced, so it's causing us a hole in our stats, and you're putting in considerable time there, and we want to make sure we capture that. So if you really could complete that form, it would be, well, apart from massively boosting the amount of activity, mentoring going on, it just means we can recognize that the time that you're putting in.
Yeah, recognize your effort.
Yeah,
it's usually an hour to an hour and a half.
Please do use the Google form if you can.
Okay,
Thank you.
We'll do.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Right.
All right.
So just finally on the agenda, any other business? We'll be wrapping up now. Daryl?
Well, yeah, again, just a couple of odds and ends. I mean, can I just ask people to mention the Spotlight and CV service that Karen Waltham is offering? Just give that a plug. I think it's a great resource. We're paying for the Spotlight tool, the profiling tool, and then the CV top tips.
And the CV preparation.
But
yeah.
Karen is a top HR, maritime professional. So just to plug that again. And
can I interrupt you there for a second on exactly that point? Because we had correspondence with Travis, for example, with Spotlight, with Karen. Thank you, Bindu, for that message. I'm looking at it now, the 9th of August. Since when, I've not heard any more. Has he been in touch? Has he been part of that? I've no idea.
I think Travis was issued a Spotlight report. I believe he was. That wasn't through Karen. I think it was through Spinnaker.
Yes.
There was a previous one. The previous licenses, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I? Yeah, just out of interest, I been a fairly active member of the Nautical Institute. They ran a seminar last week on CV writing. I don't know if anybody saw it.
I put it in the LinkedIn group, Philip.
Okay.
Yeah, they do have some really good stuff, don't they?
What really surprised me was about tailoring your CV for LinkedIn, and just I mean, when I first joined LinkedIn, it was more of a novelty than anything else.
Yes.
Years ago. But now the importance with which employers attach to your LinkedIn profile is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. So I'm assuming that Spotlight look after that side of things as well.
Spotlight is the profiling tool, isn't it?
The program, but whoever does it, because it seems to me that really is crucial nowadays. If you want to get, I couldn't believe when it's something like 85% of recruiters go straight to LinkedIn looking for using the algorithms to look for the people they want.
Right.
It's made them very lazy. Because they don't need to know people now. They just use LinkedIn as their source, as you quite rightly say. So it's spot on. There are courses. I mean, there are full, there are taught courses in how to improve your LinkedIn. So it is a big deal. Maybe we should expand that and have a specific LinkedIn. We could maybe buy one of the LinkedIn learning courses or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's make a note, Carla. We can look into that. Maybe some.
LinkedIn courses.
They still did deal with how to make a good CV, but they were saying how important it is to look at your LinkedIn profile as well and make sure that's spot on. Yeah.
No, good point. Good point. Okay, maybe there's some resource we can put into that. Okay. As you mentioned, Philip, you mentioned the NI. I don't know how many of you get the Seaways. Receive the thing. There is just as an aside, there's quite an interesting article in there about written by someone who talks about coming ashore in a wider sense, and he's very critical of people who are encouraging seafarers to come ashore. I'll let you read the rest of the article, but he's essentially saying, you know, we're seafarers' attitude is all wrong now. They go into it almost on a sort of short-term basis, and rather than seeing it through to master mariner, they think they, you know, and because leave arrangements have improved so much, people are spending as much time on leave as they are at sea, and it's almost like sea is almost he's getting in the way of what they're doing in their other world, and it's kind of the lines are blurring. Where when we were at sea, you know, it was the leave was, you know, it was your primary job, and so you didn't have a chance when you're at home to develop other stuff. But anyway, I'll leave that to you.
Well, I mean, that kind of thing ties in the fact that people, even when they're away, they want constant contact with home as well.
Yeah, that's right.
To me, I mean, you've all been, you know, others have been at sea, and it was no big deal if you didn't speak to anybody for a few weeks, or even a few months. Yeah.
Yeah, he makes some good points. Anyway, so I digress.
I've got to catch up on my seaway, so I'll look out for that one.
Latest issue. All right.
Since that is obviously an article of great interest to all of us, is there a chance you could simply send it round to us all, or have you done so and I've missed it?
Well, I'll scan it and send it to you if you want, Jeff.
Thank you.
I don't think there's an electronic version of it.
There isn't.
No. So.
I only get it because they're tenants of ours here, so we get.
Yeah, I know. I've been in there hundreds of times and stuff.
That's one of the benefits. I don't have to pay the membership and I get the magazine.
I think actually I might have seen it because John Lloyd might have sent it to me.
I'm sure.
If you could anyway, that would be kind.
Yeah, it might be useful to share.
One more thing, she's now disappeared, but I wanted to say to Bindu. I have received a connection message from Rigil Kolako, or Rigil, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, his or her. Sailing as second officer on tankers, wants to do Nout until he or she is home in the month of August, preferably end of August, and will contact me then, and I haven't heard yet.
So you're waiting to hear from Rigil?
Yes.
Okay.
I could send Rigil a message, just saying, presume he's home now. Today's the 7th, and I could just say, hi, I'm still here if you want any help.
Sure.
I'll do that. I'll do that. Okay.
Okay. All right then. Okay. So if there isn't any other business, I will send round a details of the next meeting. It should be around 2 months from now, so that'll take us to November, beginning of November time. So yeah, I'll forward that and the minutes.
Can I just start just on that? Is anyone up for sort of face-to-face or like a hybrid? Because we'll be in our new office, and we'll have really good AV facilities, so we could be in a room and we've got a big screen and stuff. So if people are in London, I forget where everyone's based, but we could make it hybrid, and then anyone who wants to come to our new office in Lambeth is welcome, and even have a drink afterwards. Yes, Jeffrey. We're running over, but
just to say that
the only thing I would say, I've got something big on the 3rd and 4th of November, so please don't make it then.
Okay.
Okay. Noted.
And I'm on the tribunal of 3. Okay. Obviously, in an arbitration case, which is we're going to have our hearing 8, 9, and 10 November, somewhere in the city. But it might mean that I could join you afterwards. I could wander across town to Lambeth. But at the moment, I've not been anywhere outside Harrow since March last year.
Okay.
Okay. So you could make those dates, Jeff.
3rd and 4th, no, because
we'll avoid those, Carla. We'll avoid
the 8th, 9th, 10th, you could.
I might be able to. I don't know when the hearing is going to finish. It usually finishes around 5, but for me to be with you at 5 would obviously therefore be impossible.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
You'll have to finish early, Jeff. Just tell them you've got an important meeting to go to.
That's not going to go down too well, Phil. If you knew who my 2 co-arbitrators were.
Okay. All right. So, Mireille, thank you for joining our meeting, and we'll follow up with the sending out the information. Thank you all for attending, and I'll get the minutes out, and hopefully we'll be somehow maybe engaging over next week, International Shipping Week, in some form or another, and we'll keep you posted of any developments in the meantime. And that's about what Darryl was talking about the Lloyd's placements, and what I was talking about, the workboats. If there's anything that comes up in the meantime, then we'll of course let you know. So thank you to everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice
Bye
to meet you,
bye.
Mairead.
Bye, Mairead.
Bye.
Bye.
Darryl? Oh, he's gone.